This time I have a Sony PSLX300 belt drive turntable, automatic turntable. Complaint on this is it skips and doesn't have good sound. Well, there's not really a heck of a lot that can go wrong with a turntable. If it's skipping, then obviously the stylus is not tracking the groove properly. Now that's generally a bad stylus, an incorrect stylus, or something physical on the tone arm. So let's just check this one out and see why it's skipping or why it sounds as bad as it does. This time I've got a turntable. This is a Sony PSLX300. And the complaint on it is, let me look at what it says for the complaint. The complaint is it skips constantly. It has bad and distorted audio. So I'm going to use a garbage disc on here to start with. I'll play my good disc on it that I know that I can play, the Dale Jacobs disc, once I determine what the problem is. So we've got a start-stop button on here. This is the automatic turntable. It is set for, where's this record size? 30 centimeters. So this is a 12-inch record. Start speed is set to 33. Well, it does appear to be sticking. It just doesn't play. It doesn't sound very good either. What's going on here? Yeah, that doesn't sound very good. Let's check the stylus. He says he's got a new stylus on it, but that just doesn't. I mean, come on, it's not rocket science. It's a. This got a built-in preamp. Let's switch it down to magnetic output. Oh, that might explain why I'm not plugged into the right inputs. Oh, I was plugged into the line input. That's why it sounded good. Let's try the correct input. It had distorted output. It was in the line output. If you plug it into the phono input, you're going to end up with that. But I just knocked some stuff off the wall when I switched that. Okay, that's a little better. It's still skipping. And it sounds like crap. Okay, this has got a problem with this cartridge, or the stylus is not the right one, or something. Let's see. Oh, what's going on? What the hell? Okay. It's not attached. The cartridge, I don't think is supposed to fall out of this thing. This was one of these integrated cartridges, and I don't think it's supposed to pull down from the body like that. I think it's supposed to be glued in place. That might be part of the problem. This is one of these integrated cartridges that you don't replace. You can replace the stylus. I wonder if this is the correct one that's on there. Doesn't sound very good, that's for sure. Okay, there's the stylus. It looks like it's bent, doesn't it? Those are the two magnets that go into the... Yeah, they don't look straight, do they? Looks like they're rotated. That's what it looks like. Yeah, I think that this is probably why it sounds as bad as it does. Look at where the magnet is. These should be at like 45-degree angle. It should be more like rotated more, like it's been turned. It's been turned inside the mount here so that the actual stylus is pointing off at an angle. Well, that would certainly explain why it sounds as bad as it does. You can see here, if we look at it at this angle here, this should be turned more like that. I wonder if I can turn it. Maybe it's just in the rubber mount. And we can try to straighten this thing up a bit. That might be why it's sounding as bad as it is. It was installed incorrectly. That cartridge shouldn't come down like it is either. So that's kind of like more like they're supposed to be. Like that. I'll try reinstalling this into the cartridge and see whether it sounds any better. But as you can see how that was before, that's more like how the little magnets are supposed to be set up. I think maybe when it was installed incorrectly and it pushed it over to the side and twisted it in the rubber mount here. It's just a rubber mount that mounts us onto the base. I think it kind of got turned out of position. We'll try that and see whether it sounds any better. So there's the cartridge. I don't even know if this is the right stylus for this thing. The cartridge just pulls out of here. I didn't think it was supposed to do that, but normally these things just clip in like this and snap in place. And this does not appear to be going into place properly. I think this is the wrong needle, or the wrong tip, the wrong stylus for this cartridge, and that is why it sounds as bad as it does, because it doesn't fit. It's not the right one. Someone bought this off of Amazon or something and just tried to shoehorn it in, and of course the wrong one is never going to fit on a turntable like this. Okay, it just snapped in, so maybe it is the correct one. Let's try this and see whether this will actually sound better. This doesn't come off anymore in this because it's soldered in permanently to the head shell. I mean, this is a very cheap turntable. At least it has a magnetic cartridge on it, but it's a cheap turntable. But let's see whether it sounds any better and whether it still skips. It's the wrong needle. I'm sure it's the wrong needle. Or the wrong stylus. And that's why it's not tracking. I have a feeling that this is too high because this sticks up above the cartridge body, which holds this down at an angle, so it's making the angle incorrect. I think this is probably this is for a different type cartridge than what it's being used in. See if I can reshape this thing a little bit, make it sit a little lower because it pushes the cartridge down out of the head shell. Normally this cartridge would have been glued in place and it would not come out like that. It's not supposed to drop down like that. That's supposed to be attached permanently in this head shell. It's a cartridge that you can't replace. After all, this is a very cheap turntable. So I think someone putting the wrong stylus on there is probably, that's why it's pulled free like that, is they forced it and it popped it down. Let me see if I can just make this thing a little bit lower so that it will fit a little better. So what it is, I just trimmed off a bit around the edge so that it actually sits in place properly now. Let's see if it'll play. No. It's still not tracking right. And again, it's because it's the wrong stylus. And that's also affecting the sound quality, right? Because it's at the totally the wrong angle. Either that cantilever is bent down, which is also possible. It definitely looks like that the cantilever is bent though. You see at the very end? It definitely looks like it's a bit bent. At least the magnets are facing somewhat the right direction now. We're still off a bit. But that probably resulted from trying to put the wrong stylus on this cartridge. It's not lining up right, and it's more than likely touching against the body, against the coil, the magnetic pickup. This is more than likely touching up against it. And that's causing it to be at the wrong angle, which is giving us all that distortion and not allowing it to track because it's the wrong stylus. So I'll have to let the fellow know that's got this, that yeah, you may have put a new, as he put in his notes, I put a new tip on it. Well, I think he's referring to that. It's not the right one for this unit because it wouldn't even fit. It was too high. This was actually pushing the cartridge down out of the shell, out of the head shell. So I'm going to leave it at that because I don't have a new stylus for this, and I'll have to let the fellow know that owns it. He'll probably see the video. That's what he needs. He needs a new stylus, but again, that cartridge should not be floating free like that and falling out. It should be permanently attached and stuck to the head shell. The fact that it's coming out so freely like that is because the glue that holds it in place has failed, and that could have been due to someone putting the wrong stylus in and forcing it in. And when they pushed it in place, it actually pulled down the cartridge itself. Anyway, these were a cheap turntable, and they're still a cheap turntable. They're not really worth anything. Something like this might be worth $10 or $15. I mean, really, they're not worth anything. It's a belt drive turntable. I mean, it's got USB output on it. That's about the only thing it's got going for it. It's got USB output that you can record directly to your computer. So, and it's got a preamp in it. But the right stylus with this will actually make it work. Anyway, I can't do anything on it without that. So we'll say thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Bye.